Hello. Today I'm going to read a short story I wrote called What Really Happened to the Boy Who Cried Wolf by Charles Dechambre. And I'm Charles Dechambre. There was a young man that everyone called Boy, who was in charge of protecting the town by watching for wolves. We're talking huge, sly, sneaky, mutant, monstrous wolves. When he saw a wolf, he was instructed by the king to ring the city bell, to warn everyone of the impending danger. The city folk were to run home and hide, board up their windows and doors, and protect themselves. It was the only city in the land, and so the king also lived there. Days went on, and the young boy would ring the city bell whenever he thought he saw wolves. At first, everyone took him seriously and ran home to board up their windows and doors. Soon, days started to turn into weeks, and weeks soon turned into months. Even months turned into years. The young boy rang the bell almost daily. Far too often, the townspeople thought. The problem was that there were never any wolves that anyone saw come around. Eventually, people grew tired of running home to board up their windows and doors. Besides, that takes too much time and effort. It wastes my day, and there are never any wolves that come around to speak of, one of the townsfolk said. The young man soon became known as the boy who cried wolf. Mocking and laughing would chant the streets as the boy would walk through town. "There he is, crying wolf again," they would mock. "Oh, if it isn't the boy who cries wolf. Where are these wolves you cry of? Scared of the wind, are ya? Ha, ha, ha. No one believes you, wolf boy. You should find a real job. There's no such thing as monstrous wolves." So the townspeople began to ignore the bell and the boy's warning. The boy grew upset with the townspeople. Eventually, he would enjoy ringing the bell even if there was no wolves. One day, as the boy walked through town, a beautiful young lady came up to him and said, "If it helps any, I believe you, and I believe there's monstrous wolves out there. People also laugh at me in my house because I never unboard my windows and I keep my doors boards right beside the door. And every time you ring the bell, I run home and hide to protect myself." After that, the boy considered the young lady and thought it would be mean to have to make her run and hide and board up her windows and doors and get laughed at all for nothing. So he went back to work with a new attitude. After all, he knew how hard it was to be mocked and laughed at. He decided now to only ring the bell when he saw a real wolf. But still, he kept ringing the bell. In fact, he was ringing the bell twice as often now. I don't know if he actually saw wolves or just liked hearing the sound of the bell. Nonetheless, the boy continued on to ring the bell, and no one paid any attention to him or the bell. It was one calm, sunny day when the king decided to pay a visit to the boy. He explained that ringing the bell was a serious claim, and that crying wolf has become a nuisance and now punishable. The king began to explain that he himself was beginning to believe that monstrous wolves did not exist anymore, and that there may be no reason to have a wolf-crying boy. So the king sternly said, "Boy, if you ring this bell again, with no wolf to speak of, you will never ring this bell again." The boy swallowed hard and uttered, But I do see wolves." And the king remarked, "Yes, I'm sure you do. Just remember what I told you." It had not even been 2 hours gone past as the boy stared into the wilderness. Sets of carnivorous teeth began to emerge through the ebb of the tree line, and dozens upon dozens of mean, hungry eyes stared through. The boy's mouth dropped. Even he was in disbelief. He rubbed his eyes once. He rubbed his eyes twice. He rubbed his eyes a third time, hoping these images would go away. No, this time was real, and the boy ran to ring the city bell. Enraged, the king shouted out, "That's it! That nuisance bell will never ring again." And so he left to rebuke the young man and discharge him from the job of crying wolf. Well, the monstrous wolves were real, and this was their moment. They began to inch forward through the fields, slowly, sneakily, slyly, and hidden from view. The boy, with all seriousness, blasted into town to tell everyone that this time was for real. He yelled and cried wolf, but no one paid any attention to him. "He's really lost his mind this time," Joe the bartender said. "Yep, he's gone lost his marbles. Now pour me another drink," Harry the town drunk replied. "Oh my God, is that the boy who cries wolf all the time?" Sally the cowgirl said. "Someone needs to spank that boy," Margie, just a commoner, said. "Holy bejesus, kid, can you calm down? What is the problem here? Why are you causing all this commotion?" Martin the town sheriff said. "Wolves, lots of wolves in the trees, big eyes, big teeth, lots of them." The boy could barely stand, he was shaking so hard. At once the king showed up. "What's the problem here, Sheriff?" the king asked. Meanwhile, the wolves were slowly inched forward through the tall grass of the field, slowly, sneakily, slyly. "Your Majesty," the sheriff replied with a bowed head, "I believe our boy here sees some wolves. Now, I'm not one to speak, but I ain't never seen no wolves, nonetheless a wolf around this fine town of yours." The king looked down at the quivering boy and hoarsed out, "Boy, I explained the seriousness of these claims to you not more than 2 hours ago. Now, I was awoken from a nice, beautiful rest by the sound of those clanging bells, and frankly, I don't even know why that bell was even built. There's no such thing as monstrous wolves. It's nothing more than fairy tales. Now, you take me to where you see some wolves, and should no wolves appear, that, son, was the last you should ever ring that damn bell again." The king looked at the sheriff and motioned with his head for him to join the walk. By this time, a crowd had gathered around, and soon a mob had formed, all accompanying the young man, the king, and the sheriff, to go see some wolves. A chant rang out amongst the mob as they followed behind. "Remove the damn bell! Remove the damn bell! Remove the damn bell!" Soon more than 3/4 of the town people had joined in the chant. "Remove the damn bell! Remove the damn bell! Remove the damn..." The king raised his hand as he came to a halt. The chant instantly died. They were now at the cusp of the town leading to the forest through the field. The king apathetically stood up on the first rung of the 2-rung rustic fence that surrounded the field of tall grass. "So where are these wolves you speak of?" the king asked. The boy shiveringly pointed to the grass, without even as much as a word. "Do they have big, sharp, shark-like teeth, and big, monstrous arms and legs, and claws like Wolverine, the storybook character?" Yes, the boy replied. Where's this wolf boy who cries wolf?" someone in the crowd yelled out. "Yeah, where's the wolf?" someone else harped. The king raised his arm and motioned for a step stand, and as he stepped down from the fence. Calmly, he said to the scared boy that stood before him, "Boy, I believe you're seeing things. There's nothing here but tall grass and a field with no wolves." "Remove the damn bell!" someone yelled out, and the mob began to chant, "Remove the damn bell! Remove the damn bell! Remove the damn bell!" Some men rushed the king his crown, his staff, and step stand to step up on, as the crowd's chant grew stronger and louder. The king stepped up on his stand, raised his hand, and yelled, "Silence!" The sound of the crowd fell dead, and the king continued. "I know you've all heard the annoying tings and tangs of this bell. It has been a nuisance even to me ever since I can remember. There's no such thing as monstrous wolves." "There's no such thing as monstrous wolves!" a holler bursted from the crowd. The king raised his hand, half laughing and nodding at the comment. "Now, we all know these legends of monstrous wolves with sharp, shark-like teeth and Wolverine claws has gone on far too long. We all agree that these legends have become obsolete, and with it, this damn bell. So as such, without further delay, I declare this day to be Remove the damn bell. Wolf! A wail screeched out of the crowd. A laugh erupted. At once everyone turned to see a frightened townslady stammering on. No joke. I saw a big scary over there, wolf. Ah! The lady pointed towards the grass. Not you too, Sue, a man yelled out. The woman then fainted to the ground. Everyone, including the king, turned in silence to look at the field of grass. Nothing but wind could be seen gently brushing the tops of the collective blades throughout the calm and quiet field. The deadness of silence echoed through all their ears. Exploding out of the silence came just a little shuffle in the grass, caused by the wind. Everyone took a deep breath in, held it in an even more anticipating silence as they all peered just a little bit closer. The young boy had taken this opportunity to quietly slip back out of the crowd, where he now quickly headed to a secure hiding place. Everyone continued to stare into the grass. The last of the townsfolk showed up, completely breaking the silence with, "What's going on here?" After a short, heartfelt shock, everyone let out a sigh of relief. It was at that moment that the grass began to shake wildly, and one after another, big, monstrous wolves with sharp, shark-like teeth and big, huge, monstrous arms and Wolverine-like claws began to jump out of the grass. First eaten with one quick, gruesome gobble was the king, as his crown slammed to the ground. The king's blood splattered all over the crowd of the townspeople. The flare in the wolves' eyes intensified with more fury and hunger. The crowd began to scream, and being too close-knit to run, the wolves easily overpowered them. The wolves chomped and feasted on bloody arms and spilled guts. Limbs and heads, bloods and guts flew everywhere as the wolves enjoyed their feast. Two lonely eyes peered through his boarded-up hole. It wasn't long before the wolves had completely devoured all the townspeople. Every last one of them that stood there in the crowd was eaten. Not even one limb was left to be seen. The wolves' feasting dwindled, and they began to sniff the ground wildly for more delectable human pieces of meat, but there was none. Out of the air rang a familiar sound. The bell. At once the wolves began to whimper and whine, and they retreated one by one back into the grass, speeding for the forest. The bell continued to clang until there was not a sight or sound of any wolf left in the city. The bell quieted, and nothing but a bloody massacre remained. The boy waded through the spilt blood of all the townspeople and up to the crown as he picked it up and placed it on his head. Next, walking through the town, the boy shook his head, remembering a once full and lively city. He didn't really miss the mocking and laughing, but the young man now did start to miss the hustle and bustle. He began to wonder if the crown was worth keeping on his head, with no one around. All of a sudden, out of the deadness, he heard a screech. Screech! One of the doors of the townhouses slowly crept open, and a little beautiful young lady poked her head out. The boy, who was now king, grew euphoric at the sight of the beautiful young lady and came running to greet her. The boy, exasperated, The wolves, they ate everyone. The king, the sheriff, even Harry, the town drunk, all gone. The wolves ate them all. The woman stepped out in disbelief and raised her hand to her mouth with a huge sigh and said, "Oh my God, are you serious?" The boy, who was now king, replied, Yes, very serious." They stared at each other for a few minutes before anyone spoke. The new king now began with a smile and sigh of relief. "Well, I'm sure glad you listened and ran to hide and protect yourself." The woman shook her head and lifted and waved her hand. "Shut up, I need clarification motion." Wait just a minute here. So you're telling me that you, the boy who used to cry wolf, the boy who cries wolf, you are our new king? The boy looked down and buried his feet in the ground. "Well," he said, "I wouldn't be much of a king without a queen, and I can't marry a queen unless there's a priest and witnesses. But who made up those silly rules? Anyway, now that I'm king, I could change that, or I guess we could change that." The boy got down on his knees and proposed. "Would you marry me, since we're the last two people left?" The beautiful, now blushing young lady looked down at the handsome young king and said, "Yes, but I wouldn't say that we are the last two people left just yet." "What do you mean?" the young king replied as he jumped to his feet. The now bride-to-be opened the door to her boarded-up hovel, and at least a couple dozen people poured out, including the town priest, the young lady's family, and a bunch of others. The boy said, "But how did you know?" he asked. The town priest interrupted. "Well, if you read the legends correctly, it says that the wolves can't stand the sound of that bell. Most of the townsfolk interpreted it as the bell was annoying. When you ran into town leaving the bell unattended and getting laughed at by the sheriff and king, we knew that the wolves would soon approach. It's a real shame they didn't read the legends correctly. So enough said." The priest clapped his hands. "I believe we have a wedding ceremony to perform." The young king looked at his beautiful young queen-to-be, caressed her hand, and both turning to look up at the priest, replied, "We sure do." "Amen," said the priest. So that's what really happened to the boy who cried wolf. And if you don't pick up the moral of the story, it's not so bad to cry wolf as many times as you need. It's just a shame not to listen to believe in the legends. And all those unbelievers got what their stubbornness deserved. The end. Hope you enjoyed my story. Bye.